The Act Man is very worried about the Halo CE remake. I'm not worried. I know it's going to be a disaster. I just know it. And I'm a major Halo fan. I love most of the games. Well, half of the games at this point. Damn, fuck. I've read a lot of the books too. I've reacted to a bunch of lore. I know a lot about Halo. I'm probably going to do a Halo playthrough of Halo 1, 2, 3, ODST, and Reach pretty soon. Just like all the way through it. No stops. Might stream it whenever I got more internet, when I got the new internet. Right now, my internet's not good enough to stream, but in a couple days, I'm gonna do it, man. Gonna do it. So what are you worried about, Act Man? By the way, I just want to point out that I was fucking right about the AI generation stuff. And I was saying, I think that this game looks like it was used with AI generation. I think they used AI tools for the art and stuff like that. This is from 5 days ago, from Games Radar and other, it's all the same article. Halo campaign evolved leads call AI a tool in a toolbox, comparable to others like Photoshop. Dude, I got so much hate for saying this. That I was hearing rumors of this, that they were using AI for the art. But assured, the people are the ones who are creating the game. We're not forcing it, we're just allowing them to be creative. And we're just giving them the tool set. The exciting remake of beloved 2001 sci-fi shooter Halo Combat Evolved, Halo Campaign Evolved, has been unveiled, and considering today's climate of rising generative AI use, it's unsurprising that some fans may worry about its role within the new release's development. I'm not worried about it. I'm just gonna laugh at it, because I know it's gonna be a complete fucking disaster. Executive producer Damon Kahn addresses such concerns in a recent interview with Rolling Stone. God, they all shake hands. All of these fucking media companies. And it does sound like AI could play a part in the production of Campaign Evolved, albeit a minor one in support of the developers actually putting in the creative work. I want to be very clear. People are creative. People make games. AI can improve workflows. You mean cut-arounds? You mean workarounds? And, dude, it should not be easy to make games. It should not. You need to have... Okay, whatever, man. Whatever. Let's move on. It can do things for the game, explains Khan. Like what? Do everything that every other game is doing? But I want to be very specific and clear that the people are the ones who are creating the game. And if there's an opportunity to improve a workflow or something along those lines, we'll look at it again. It really should be additive to the creation of a game. No, get the fucking AI out of there. I don't even care if we got good AI games. A giant corporation like this is not going to use AI in a good way. It really should be additive to the creation of a game. Game director Greg Herman echoes this sentiment, chiming in to describe AI as a tool, much like Adobe Photoshop. They're comparing AI to Photoshop. It's a tool in a toolbox, he states. I may go a little off message here, but some of that gets very challenging when we look at how integrated AI is becoming within our tooling. Herman continues, we use Photoshop. There's generative fill, for example. The boundary lines can get a little fuzzy. I will say, though, again, to Damon's point, it really is about that creative spark that comes from people and improving just overall workflows. And let me tell you something. I don't care if it looks good. If I can tell that it's AI, then it completely removes me from the art style. And if the art ain't good, and the gameplay is mid, and it's like every other fucking game, and all the environments look the same as every other game, every other Unreal Engine game, because, like, dude, the corporations, they take all these workarounds and these cost-cutting measures to use all the same tools that all the other developers use. And it makes everything have the same vibe, feel the same, and look the same. It's just got everything's a little bit different in the design of the art. Like, you're not gonna have Halo guns in Call of Duty. Well, you might, just because they'll have a deal where you get Halo in Call of Duty. You know what I mean. There's generative fill, for example. The boundary lines can get a little fuzzy. I will say, though, again, to Damon's point, it really is about that creative spark that comes from people and improving just overall workflows. And if you have a super corporate bad environment where everybody's constantly freaking out, being rushed, when they use AI, it's gonna be to make their lives easier, when you should just be allowing them to create the game, and don't just fucking, if you push them and push them and push them to where they ain't got enough time and they can't be creative, they're gonna go to AI. That's what that means. Rolling Stone clarifies that later on, an Xbox Game Studios representative reached out with more context, writing, "There is no mandate to use generative AI in our game development, and that includes Halo Campaign Evolved." No, but they're definitely gonna make it a corporate structure to use it, because everything around you is gonna promote it. And if you don't use it, then you're not gonna be able to work, because you're just not gonna have time, and everything's gonna be busted. It all certainly begs the question, how much AI does Campaign Evolve utilize? Then, and how? It seems we won't know for certain until the remake actually releases sometime in 2026. The Halo leads aren't the only folks working within the video game industry to speak on the matter of AI use during development. Arc Raiders lead Patrick Soderlund said that games can't be built by an AI, and I hope they never can. No, that's not what we're talking about here. If anybody thinks that we're talking about the game is literally generated from an AI, that's not what the fuck we're talking about. Talking about the art, talking about the textures, talking about like the fucking like energy and stuff that's in it, the explosions, the lighting, like everything looks like it was AI. There was just something weird and 3D about it, you know? It's just got that weird blocky slick look. Somebody down there in the comments explain how AI stuff looks AI, because it's hard for me to explain it, but I could pick it out immediately, and I did, and I was fucking right. So let's get on with the video.
Halo Campaign Evolved is the next project coming out of Halo Studios. It is the ultimate Halo CE campaign remake. Ultimate Halo CE campaign remake.
Let's fucking go, boys! An Act-Man Halo video on main. I haven't done one of these since I talked about Season 2 of the Halo TV series. Good God, it is great to be back. In much better fashion this time. Welcome home,
not much
all
better.
Halo fans. Today is a glorious day. We have so much to talk about. I am fucking hyped.
And this is all that anybody's talking. Like, how do you not think that this is AI? How do you not think this? It looks like fucking AI here. Like, look at the trees, man. Look at the dithering of the trees.
Talk about the CE remake. Not just because I put Halo 1 as like my #2 game of all time. Just a few days ago, we had the 10-year anniversary of Halo 5, and coincidentally, the 10-year anniversary of my channel. That game kickstarted my career and what has turned into, well, the video you're currently watching. I'm sorry if I get a little nostalgic in this video, but it feels like a lot of things are coming full circle. And we are so close to hitting 2 million subscribers. How perfect would that be to hit 2 million off of a new Halo video? If you enjoy what I do here, please consider subscribing.
I'm
it's one of
already
the best
subscribed.
ways to support the channel, and it's totally free. It says something.
I hope he brings up some actual criticism and doesn't just glaze it half the time or the whole time.
About the
like, you gotta give them criticism so they can turn back and change things. Because I don't even care if they use AI. Just don't make it look like AI. Generate stuff, don't generate the textures. Generate the actual, like, flat art and then paint over it. That I'm fine with, if you want to do it that way.
Longevity of this franchise and how fucking amazing it is that the first game is still considered relevant 24 years later. It literally is a masterpiece. It's worthy of a remake. RE4 is a masterpiece. That's worthy of a remake.
Bingo.
I am all in favor of giving Combat Evolved the same remake treatment that Dead Space and RE4 got. Why it tastes so good, I think I'll buy this game a second time. Combat Evolved is one of my favorite games of all time. I have beaten it more than any other video game I've ever played, so I'm very protective of it. I mean, if you came into the bar and you said, you know what, Halo 1 sucks, I'd choke you out, bitch. However, my excitement is stifled by some pretty big concerns I have.
What?
All right, here we go.
Is that?
We are not going full Doomer mode, but we also haven't reached Glaze City yet. I have yet to dive into...
And they need people to be at Glaze City.
Giving you my thoughts on the good, the bad, and the potentially ugly. But first, this video is sponsored by Mint Mobile. I don't know about you, but I like it when I don't
like Mint Mobile.
Just browsing. Times when I play.
Get rid of that Mint Mobile sponsor, man.
Let's start with the good. Blood. I love blood in my super cool space alien shooter because the aliens are all different colors, and when you shoot them, different color goop spills out and it gets splattered all over the place. The CE remake has to be rated M. If it's not, for those reasons, I will be out. There is no PG rated alien movie, and there never should be. Likewise, there should never have been a T-rated Halo game.
Right?
And it's nice that it looks like we're getting back on track. Seeing the Covenant bleed all over the place and have blood spraying everywhere from explosions, gunshots, it made Combat Evolved incredibly satisfying. And it also had the added benefit of making Halo not feel like plastic action figures battling on your carpet. We're shooting colorful aliens and I want to paint the walls with their blood. Also, look at the blood. I'm so glad that blood is back in the remake. Look at how, look, I painted. Do you guys like my mosaic? The Flood are all about body horror and morphing bodies into grotesque, horrific monstrosities, and you need to be willing to embrace violence and gore in order to sell that, in order to sell the Flood as something that should be feared. Another cool thing was seeing Fohammer on screen. Some used to call her the Invisible Babe. I know for non-Halo fans, Fohammer...
I just want to say, this looks like an Unreal Engine character. And it looks AI generated with textures. It's way too smooth and blocky. This looks like a fucking marathon character. I mean, obviously the design is better, but like, it's immediately pulling me out of it. I'm not even saying that this is AI. They just didn't do a very good job at making it look like not AI.
Some used to call her the...
And they're probably using tools that's like in Unreal Engine. So they probably don't even either they don't realize it or they don't care.
Invisible Babe. I know for non-Halo fans, Fohammer is like a glup shido type character, but honestly, like, she was very underrated in Combat Evolved. I think the Halo CE remake has a lot of potential to show us parts of the game that we didn't get to see before. Stuff like this is an opportunity to expand on Bungie's original vision of Halo in a way that enhances the experience. Cutscenes.
Man, I can't wait until I can play the original Combat Evolved remake again. I'm gonna stream it probably.
And dialogue. As I said, Halo CE I feel like has...
They'll probably hit the dialogue unless they actually change it to be more modern.
One of the best stories in video game history. As someone who has more or less memorized the entire script of Combat Evolved and coincidentally remained...
It's probably not gonna vibe the same though. There's just something about the way old games were scripted and the way the dialogue worked, especially with the blocky characters.
A virgin for 31 consecutive years. I love the idea of adding more script to the story I love. There is a ton of cut CE content that could and they should be restored. Nervy Destroyers made an entire series about it, and there are so many incredible encounters Halo Studios could draw inspiration from and or recreate. But this is a very delicate balance because recreating the magic of the original script and its cinematics is not something that can be done just by opening a thesaurus and changing some words around. Jen Taylor's performance as Cortana in the remake feels like she's being directed to be more uppity, sassy, with a tinge of overconfidence.
Interesting.
Here's another shot where it just like the needles from the needler, the way the textures are, looks AI generated.
I underestimated the Covenant's understanding of Halo's subsystems. Interesting. I underestimated the Covenant's understanding of Halo's subsystems.
Whereas in the original, you know, she was a strategic AI, a woman in charge who's calling the shots. And so I feel like there's a very specific vibe that she has with Combat Evolved.
There's no time. Get out of here, find keys, stop him. Before it's too late!
If you're not replacing Master Chief and Cortana, you better not replace Sergeant Johnson. Bring David Scully back in here, otherwise I will cry myself to sleep with my copy of Halo Combat.
Oh, they're definitely gonna fuck it up. They're gonna fuck it up.
involved in my needler. And they've also announced they're going to have 3 brand new prequel missions, a potentially massive
cool.
W. And one
Yeah,
way
that's
to
cool.
achieve that W
Oh man, I hope it's fucking good.
would be to involve Johnson in the plot a lot more. Johnson's presence in 2 and 3 specifically added irreplaceable charm.
Please, don't shake the light bulb.
I think even if the gameplay turns out to be unfaithful to Combat Evolved and worse than it, surely they can't make the story worse too.
I'm about to end this man's whole career.
One thing I did also like is that
I know who the people are at the Halo Studios, at least the ones who are, you know, talked about in the Culture War stuff. And it ain't looking good, I'll tell you that.
Chief didn't talk at all during gameplay. This is a good sign that they understand the role that Master Chief played in the first game, which was...
He is a husk. He's a big green suit of armor that you move around.
I think the potential is huge with this.
We want to see his butt, though. Show us his butt. Take his helmet off, show us his butt.
CE remake. And why just leave it as a campaign remake? I mean, leaving out multiplayer would have been like leaving out Separate Ways or the Mercenaries arcade mode in RE4. Are you remaking half of it? Why not all? Can I have a full pizza? No?
Probably because the AI that they use is more likely to break if they got multiplayer going on.
Only half?
Also, the graphics optimization. Hey, I know this guy.
Halo 1. I'm playing Halo 1, you know?
Unless they announce multiplayer somewhere down the line, this will be a fat L to take. But here's an idea. If you're not going to do multiplayer, you could replace it with other things. There's a Halo 1 mod where you get to play as an elite zealot commander during the events of the game. Across Truth and Reconciliation, 2 Betrayals, you get to kill Marines, take part in all these big battles from the Covenant perspective. Oh shit, look, it's Johnson. Look, it's Johnson in this Halo mod. I'm just saying, people have been talking about the return of playable elites for a very long time. Campaign DLC, you didn't deliver that with Infinite? I'm just saying. Another thing I really loved were the cutscenes. Ignoring some of the performance issues, which hopefully can be ironed out.
Yeah, this shit literally could have just been DLC for Infinite. That, like, I don't get it, man.
Reminded me of the Halo 2 anniversary.
Like, nobody was asking for this.
Cutscenes, which to this day is the best Halo has ever looked, and that shit was made back in 2014. Anything that replicates that style, that look, that feel, I am 100% down for, so long as it retains the same vibe and atmosphere of Combat Evolved. I love how this looks, and I think they're on the right track, but they're not using the right music here. In fact, I think they overlaid 2 songs on top of each other. All right, so now we're moving on to the negatives. Part of the reason Halo's art style, music, and atmosphere is so legendary, iconic, memorable, how the series created its identity, is because we were given moments in the game to take all of that in. When I watch that gameplay reveal and I see the person playing it sprint through the levels, it almost signals to me like, hey, those people that worked on the music, those people that worked on the art assets, the level design, the atmosphere, the Foley art, none of that shit matters. None of that is worth slowing the game.
Yeah, this is just a cash grab, soulless husk, and they probably spent way too much money on it. Honestly, they're not done with it yet, and they're about to spend way more money on it, and I wonder what the marketing is going to be like. Probably going to not be able to get away from this game.
Down for the player to take in, which obviously there's a reason why some former Halo developers are not happy with the direction that the Combat Evolved the remake has gone in, because you're essentially sprinting through this part that you are meant to take in and absorb. You're meant to absorb the moment, but by sprinting through it, you're like saying, okay, this isn't interesting. The work
Yeah, what's going on here is they made a thing and they were like, well, let's use the modern trendy mechanics. And we don't actually play games, so we don't know what it's like to play games, but it plays. And that's what matters, right? We put all the things in it. All the nostalgia bombs.
Trying to build some kind of tone, emotion, or vibe in this part of the game. That
like, why didn't they use all of this and just make a different thing? Make a Halo Combat Evolved 2. Doesn't have to be Halo 2. It could have been Combat Evolved 2. Just extra stuff outside of the original Combat Evolved.
That doesn't matter. We want the players to get through that as fast as possible.
Why don't you, there you go, I was going to say, why don't you speed things up here a little bit?
Adding sprint to Halo Combat Evolved is the equivalent of fast forwarding through all of the tension and build-up scenes in a horror movie just to watch all the parts with the alien in it. Oh, why watch this guy look around for some stupid cat? Can I get to the part where the alien's on screen? Because that's the best part.
Why don't you speed things up here a little bit?
Everything before that and in between that doesn't matter.
Sprint is the square peg being shoved in the round hole. It's the piece of the puzzle that just doesn't fit because it's from a different fucking puzzle.
To quickly summarize, sprint does not need to be in this at all whatsoever.
We're back to complaining about the sprint again. I remember when this was a problem in Halo Reach, and a lot of people were out on Halo Reach because of modern mechanics and like chasing trends.
Literally, as I played it, I saw zero benefit to it. As I watched somebody else play it, I see zero benefit to it. I see only negatives. I think Halo Studios is only adding sprint because it's been 18 years since the last Halo game without sprint, and they don't know what else to do.
Some people just really don't want sprint in their Halo experience, so
well, you don't have to use it.
Those people saying, just have a no sprint playlist.
Good news is that'll also be something you can disable if you want to.
Literally impossible. The game is built around it. Removing it means nothing would work. And honestly, it's important for the game to play consistently across all game modes.
It feels like sprint is a mechanic that the series has had to consistently make sacrifices and concessions in order to include, just because the broader audience will think the game is too slow. Maybe the broader audience is stupid, but people that like Halo 1 have good taste.
In Halo, you never put your gun down. Maps were designed with movement and combat built into the same gameplay. Now in Halo, you have the shooting part and the running around part. You see, they didn't add sprint to Halo. They put sprint at the forefront of the entire experience and were forced to build a game around it, because it absolutely had to be in the game for some fucking reason.
We will make some of the spaces larger. We also want to make sure we're authentic to the encounters themselves, so it's a balancing act between that difficulty tuning and, you know, making those encounters the right size for the right space.
It's like
yeah, why? And that just changes the vibe if you make everything bigger. What are you talking about?
A car company came out with this new car. The car wasn't made for the road it was driving on. It was obstructive. It took up multiple lanes. It was way too big. Just flat out didn't work. Now imagine, rather than simply removing the car from the road system that it wasn't built for, they decided to change everything around it just so the new car could work.
I just feel like there are so many problems you are going to introduce to the remake, unnecessary problems, if you keep sprint. Making it a toggle is just a half-assed, lazy...
I think really low IQ gamers are gonna love this game, by the way. The first time they play it, and they'll play it through once, and then they'll never play it again. And they're gonna be glazing it, and there's gonna be a lot of people that are like, this game looks amazing, look how beautiful this shot is. And that's not what games are about. I see that constantly with every new game that comes out that uses Unreal Engine mostly. They're like, how can you hate on a game that looks this pretty? Because it's boring and it sucks. That's why I can hate on it.
Non-committal way to say, like, yeah, you can play this game with or without sprint, but we're not going to really balance or build the game to accommodate either mechanic. So it's a lazy cop-out.
But main thing I wanted to just reiterate, since it's such a loved topic across the community.
Yeah, all I see with this remake is red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag. Maybe a little green flag, red flag, red flag, red flag.
There is an option to disable it if you don't want it. If you don't want it in your game, you don't have to have it. So it's all about just having choice.
That's the problem right there. Again, you didn't just sit there and explain to me my sprint is good.
Bro, we don't need the choice. We don't. The choice don't need to be there. It just removes the immersion when you're trying to like build a game for everybody. Well, we've got all these mechanics that you can check. Nobody fucking does that. Get that shit out of here. We know what you're doing here. You're trying to get the broader audience. And that's not how you get a game with soul.
All you did was tell me about how just not quite as bad as it used to be. There was nothing in there that said this makes the game inherently better. All I heard was a million things that had to change and be implemented for the sake of one mechanic that didn't work. So rather than accept the fact that it didn't work in Halo, they changed Halo, and now Halo isn't Halo anymore.
That being said, some people might bring up that RE4 remake ditching the standard tank controls of the original in favor of being able to move and shoot. But the thing is, the enemies in RE4 had their movement buffed to accommodate that. Ironically, the enemies in the Halo CE remake have had their movement completely nerfed into the ground. And we will get to that later. But also think about the Flood. The Flood is scary because they are essentially a tsunami of an infection. They're scary because they sprint towards you.
But COVID happened, so they can't have it in the game anymore.
They're mindless drones attacking every living thing in sight. To be able to just turn around and sprint and outrun them, it defeats the entire purpose, the entire reason why the Flood are such a great enemy to fight in the first game. They don't follow the conventional strategies that the Covenant employ. They are simply Zerglings. They rush you. And so adding sprint could also fuck that up. It could
it's gonna make them have to move faster. The enemies are gonna have to move faster. That just completely changes the entire vibe.
So many other things. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. Another thing, the sound effects were pretty bad.
I wonder why they were so bad. I wonder if they were using AI to generate the sound effects. Like at this point, I don't put it past them to just AI generate fucking everything.
Guns did not sound all that great. All I need to do to illustrate this is compare the sound effects for the Magnum now and what they sounded like in the original. Boom, there you go. I don't need...
Dude, I just fucking love the vibe of the original one.
To elaborate on this point?
Like, when I went back to replay it, I had to, like... I had to turn off the filter after a while for the remake version because like I just love that old style video game vibe.
We can move on. Hit markers and bloom. Once again, these modern gaming mechanics seem to be creeping their way into an all-time classic from 2001. Halo established modern mechanics like the two-weapon system. It doesn't need to adopt these other modern mechanics that Call of Duty popularized. Stop trying to do this. This is a campaign remake. We don't need fucking hit markers. I feel like having hit markers is a lazy solution instead of programming visually interesting feedback and reactions from the aliens as you shoot them. When you shoot the elites, their shields don't glow, their bodies don't glow. It's very weird and jarring. I suppose it's not a big deal if you can disable hit markers, but I'd rather the Covenant flail around.
I don't want to have to disable hit markers. That's the thing.
Around, glow, and spurt blood when I shoot them as opposed to just seeing lines on my screen. Okay, this is actually really funny that I noticed this, but the reticle in this part is highlighted over the invisible elites. Which, if you don't know, kind of nullifies the whole point of active camo if the user interface reveals them to you anyways. The original Halo, your reticle only turned red once you shot them enough and they were revealed. You can literally see the person playing this forget that there's invisible elites in this room because he's sprinting through it, thinking this is a nothing burger worth skipping through.
Why don't you speed things up here a little bit?
And he only realizes there's enemies here because the reticle turns red. So this is a surprise and encounter that is quite literally ruined on screen in this gameplay reveal. And I'm kind of flabbergasted that like nobody thought to replay this section or the CE remake.
Well, they're retarded and they don't actually like Halo. This is basically just a corporate job for them. And that's the problem, man. That's why I think it ain't gonna be good. And that's why I think that they AI generated probably at least half of everything that's in this game.
Also felt like a quarter or a half of an asset flip. This part is very weird. Like I said, I've never had sex before. So there's a lot of elements in the remake I immediately recognized were not from Halo CE and were pulled from later games. Effectively a way to modernize a masterpiece and a classic that doesn't need to be modernized. It needs to be remade.
Hold on.
To modernize a masterpiece and a classic that doesn't need to be modernized.
What is with that door? I gotta look at it again. I'm sorry.
A way to modernize a masterpiece and a
because it's like shimmering. It's like almost like it's AI generated.
Classic that doesn't need to be modernized. It needs to be remade. Sprinting with a Magnum gave me visions of Halo 5 because I always thought it looked kind of dorky to just do like this shit. Like, what is he, running a marathon? I don't know. I think it's way more badass for Chief to just be like, I don't put my gun down for nothing. I saw what I thought looked like Halo 4 or 5 grunts. Grunts are supposed to look like this in Combat Evolved, not like this. Please don't reuse these old models. I hope
they look like fucking turtles.
Placeholders, don't reuse this shit. That's not Combat Evolved. You're remaking Combat Evolved. The Forerunner art style also feels more like Halo 4, Halo 5, which I don't necessarily dislike in those games. It's just that this is the first Halo ring we went.
You notice how his hips swing?
Necessarily dislike
very
in those
swingy
games. It's just that this is the first Halo ring we went to, and it should look like it. It shouldn't look like Requiem. Installation 04 needs to appear as though these structures have been untouched by sentient life for thousands of years. There was a sort of liminal spaces vibe to a lot of the levels. It made you feel like you were really exploring a man-made alien world, something that tried to appear like it sprung from nature but was weird and synthetic. The Forerunner structures in the remake look too sharp, polished, and clean. A prime example is this hatch that the Pelican flies through.
Yeah, these aren't Halo fans working on this game. These are Microsoft employees working on this game and AI.
At the end of the mission on Silent,
I'm gonna keep saying it because I literally at the beginning of the video, they are using AI tools.
Cartographer, why is it, if it's a hatch, why is it designed with this big ass triangle? It just seems completely impractical. Again, I have never had sex before, but I do know my Halo Combat Evolved details like no other motherfucker out there. A lot of Forerunner structures in the remake, they look too...
You see that? Dude!
Evolved details like no other motherfucker out there. A lot of...
Watch how the texture on this changes. Watch how it changes.
Forerunner structures in the remake, they look too sharp, too polished, too clean. They haven't been ravaged by the essence of time. What you're exploring on Installation 04 are essentially, it's an abandoned imitation of a real world.
The weather patterns here seem natural, not artificial. I wonder if the ring's environment systems are malfunctioning.
Look, I guess the point is that a CE remake needs to look like Combat Evolved and not Halo 4 and 5. I just think that goes without saying. The Dead Space remake looked like Dead Space. It didn't look like Dead Space 3. It looked like Dead Space 1. Hit markers also look like they're from Halo 5. The Hunter melee attacks I also recognized from H5. The AI is broken in the remake as it currently stands. That needs to be fixed. That's like one of the biggest issues I witnessed. The elites just stand there waiting for you to shoot them, making gameplay incredibly awkward. Like, look at this. Why is this elite fist bumping? Is he trying to kill me, or is he at a Metallica concert? I don't know. Why is he doing that? Elites in Combat Evolved didn't do dumb shit like this. They were trying to kill you, you know? And they would do those, like, those big... Whoa. They would do those ducks. They would fucking barrel roll to avoid grenades and vehicles. They don't do that in the remake as far as I've seen. The gold zealot looking like it's ripped from Halo Infinite. Again, not a big fan of that in CE. I hope these are all placeholders for the real models. The physics and chain explosions. Oh, one of the best parts of Combat Evolved.
Oh, here we go, the
how
physics.
Fucking goofy the physics
the effects
and the chain reactions were. Jarvis, roll the clip.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
no
dude.
other game has this.
Yeah.
This is a massive strength that Combat Evolved had over all of the other Halo games released after it. You gotta hone in on the things that make Combat Evolved so special and awesome.
So good, man. You just go flying.
These ridiculous chain reactions led to some pretty funny moments where you could launch yourself. I mean, it's the whole reason why the Sputnik skull exists. Good. It's just fun to blast shit and watch it get launched 800 meters into the air. We need that. Now, vehicles. The Warthog felt too smooth. In CE, the Warthog had a very specific weight to its controls. You would kind of have to plan. You would have to drift properly if you wanted to run over elites and grunts because they could dive out of the way. So
and it was like a weapon. It was a craft. It was a dance that you danced with these enemies.
Did line it up. It was satisfying as fuck to splatter elites and enemies with it. Like the physics and explosions feeling very generic. The way the Warthog handled in the CE remake, I felt was too easy. Not enough grit, not enough weight. I'm also realizing a lot of stuff I love about CE now that it's been removed from the remake, at least for now. Again, a lot of these details are nitpicks, but 1,000 blocks stacked on top of each other builds a tower. It's in the little details where Bungie showed just how dedicated they were to their vision, how well they understood it. And if I understand why these elements make Halo CE feel so great to play, then Halo Studios needs to understand that as well. The Warthog sections were ridiculously easy.
I think the people that would understand this the most, they would never hire.
There was basically no challenge to them. Marines were way too accurate and lethal. And the biggest part, elites did not seem to dodge or jump out of the way from grenades or the Warthog. In CE, I think elites were designed with the perfect amount of agility and bulk. They could get out of dodge really quick, but they could also stand their ground, and they could take cover, and they could hide. All of these things that made elites fun and interesting to fight, I really did not feel like were in the remake. It kind of just felt like they were just a chess piece locked in place, firing 3 bullets at you.
And it's got that unreal fog. You know what I'm talking about? And like how all of the colors in an area are the same until you get to a different area with different colors, and it's just hard line, new vibe, new colors. It's fucking ridiculous.
Felt like they weren't programmed to avoid or react to the player's actions. I mean, look at this. Look at this. The Covenant have no ability to avoid the Warthog. Like I was saying with RE4 remake, they buffed the movement of the Ganados. They nerfed the movement of the Covenant here. And it with sprint and how well the Warthog handles, it totally fucks the gameplay. I mean, check out this doofus. The guy playing this just ran into him, and he's not even looking at Chief. I don't know what the hell happened here, but you know, I'm seeing this vehicle jank, and once again, it reminds me of the vehicle jank in Halo 5. And right here, you can see how these problems are compounded. When the Warthog has such fast acceleration,
and when you got this many problems that are syncing through the pre-release build, work in progress, by the way, people saying like, this looks amazing, I can't wait to play this, and I'm just like, bro, it's fake. Read the bottom of the fucking screen.
Such precise turning and handling, and the enemies are not programmed to react in time to dodge it, how utterly easy it becomes, especially with the super accurate Marines. So in some of these encounters with the Warthog, all Halo Studios has managed to do is completely trivialize the challenge in these sections, ignoring the reasons why they were designed the way they were. And I know it sounds like I'm shitting on it a lot, but trust me, folks, I do want this Combat Evolved remake to succeed.
Exactly. Dude, if this is a perfect remake like Resident Evil 4 was, I'll buy this game. But oh man, because I am a super huge Halo fan. I love most of Halo. But like, oh dude. No, it don't seem good.
Talking about level design, again, I could do a whole video talking about level design in CE, but things like removing trees that blocked the path into the island so you couldn't bring the Warthog in there, that was intentional by the developers. You were not meant to bring the Warthog through there. Removing these trees and allowing the Warthog to be driven up ignores the intended gameplay experience the original team had.
You can bring, okay,
when developing and creating this section. Yes, again, it's a small detail, but ignoring this stuff consistently signals in my mind that maybe there's some people in charge of this remake that don't understand why the game was made a certain way, why parts of the level design exist as they do, why enemies had the ability to dodge vehicles and grenades. And if you don't understand what it is you're remaking, should you be remaking it? These are questions that Halo Studios is going to have to answer. These are the tough questions.
I don't even care if they misunderstand if it's better. But good luck with making a better game than the original Halo game.
I have to answer. I mean, the blueprint to a successful Halo game has actually been laid out by the developers across multiple Vidocs, videos, and interviews.
We don't even need a remake. I don't know why they thought this was a good idea. Oh man, I don't, like, the original remake is perfect. They just leave it there. It wasn't perfect when it came out, but they fixed it. And like, bro, oh man, they could have done this just for Halo 3. Why didn't they just make, well, because they can't fuck up Halo 3. because Halo 3 was their biggest Halo experience. Their most famous. Everybody played that one.
Views. Shit, there's some on my channel. You can watch those to understand what these guys were thinking when they made one of the greatest video games of all time. And my advice is listen to the experts. Listen to the guys who made the shit you're remaking. If you just completely ignore their feedback and their input, then you don't even know what you're remaking, and that poses a very, very huge problem. Don't try to fix what was never broken and expand on what was great.
No, we gotta bring it into the modern age, even though Halo 1 is still a fucking amazing game, even for like an old game in the modern age. Like, this was just kind of like, why? Why?
Replicate the success of the Dead Space and RE4 remake. By changing these aspects of the game, you are altering someone else's vision. And it's no wonder why some of the former Halo developers like Jamie Greismer have had so much to say on Twitter regarding this remake. A lot of things he says I agree with. It makes me appreciate the CE level design even more than I previously had, because there's a level of intentionality behind the design choices that I, as a gamer and a player, never thought about. But that is, at its core, what made Halo so special. And if there's one video I could point you to illustrate this better than any other, it's this Halo CE campaign commentary with Joe Staten, Jason Jones, and Marty O'Donnell. And in it, they are so critical of each other's work, and that elevated their standards.
Little AI walk, and cue the custom animation.
Why is there a stone here? He's got a big backpack.
What? Why is there a stone there?
Well, there's not a stone there anymore.
They wanted to impress each other. That was the culture of Bungie.
Oh, I have seen that. I was like, have I seen that? Yeah, I think I reacted to that whole video.
That was the culture of Halo.
I think Ackman brought it up before, and I was like, I'm gonna watch that.
Working on that game wanted to make something better than what their coworker was working on. And that's the truth of it. That's what made Halo great. It was the people. You don't understand the intention the people had.
Or maybe I watched somebody who was making a video about it. I don't know. That's actually more likely the case.
Don't understand why it was great. Another issue I can't believe has been reintroduced into the series is ammo limitations.
Yeah, they can't even get this one right. Every single time people complain about this. Like, why don't they just listen? It makes me think, another one. It's another block for that tower that Ackman was talking about. That, like, they just don't care. This is just completely shit out so they can make a quick buck. Probably to use it on the funds for whatever's game is a sequel to Halo Infinite. That, oh man, that's gonna be a fucking disaster too. Because all they know how to do is chase trends and like cut corners and make a shitty product and lie and manipulate, misconstrue. Oh, bro. I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Pistol in the original,
Let's see it.
It took 5 shots to drain 1% of the weapon's battery. Now it takes 2 shots to drain 1% of the battery. Why? What have you done other than made this weapon less fun to use because it runs out of ammo faster? You have only made the game less fun with this decision. Please don't do this. If you look at this clip, it takes 10% of the plasma rifle battery for the player to kill 2 grunts.
I bet the decision on this was made by whoever was in charge of it. What they were shooting it, and they were like, I think, nah, I don't like that. So I want you to have this weapon longer. And then that decision was just made on the spot, and they did it. Because, like, dude, that's what a lot of this feels like. Oh, this would be cool if I did this. And not thinking about what actually the reasoning behind the way it was designed. And it's just a bunch of people doing that. Probably because you got contractors that are just doing their job. And that's all they're doing is their job. They ain't good enough.
On normal difficulty.
You can't make art by just doing your job.
Please don't do this.
Would it help if I said please?
Why don't? Don't ruin the game by making the weapons like Halo 4 where you're just constantly fucking throwing them away because they only pack like 3 bullets in them. The CE plasma pistol also did not drain energy when you charge the shot. Why add this? It makes the weapon more annoying to use. And holy shit, look at how fast that battery drains. Please stop. Stop ruining the weapons. The Magnum is supposed to have 132 rounds, not 96. Why? Huh? The assault rifle has 32 rounds. These are just really weird mistakes to be making. I do not understand. I cannot understand the logic that's behind nerfing the ability to have fun shooting aliens in a game that revolutionized first-person shooting. Why do you want to make shooting aliens less fun by having the player run out of ammo more frequently? I've never understood that. In fact, this is such a major reason why I don't replay Halo 4 that much and why the game is simply not that fun, is because your weapons run out of ammo after you kill 2 guys with them.
Dude, I remember getting stuck at a part in Halo 4 where you're fighting the Guardians or whatever they're called. What are they called? The dudes that's not the Covenant. Well, anyway, I got stuck fighting them and I literally ran out of ammo and I had no way to fight them. I just had to die over and over again. Actually, it happened multiple times in a row.
Fucking sucks. And to see this problem reintroduced from 13 years ago is kind of baffling to me, I'll be honest. There's also no health packs, once again ignoring the intentional design behind the difficulty. Personally, CE has the perfect legendary difficulty in my opinion, large in part due to the extra buffer you get with that permanent health. You have a recharging shield and health that can only be refilled if you find a health pack. So it gave you this extra buffer that you could be more reckless, you could survive more shots, you could take more damage, and it made the gameplay much better because of it. This video has gone on long enough. I had a whole section talking about Halo coming to PlayStation and what that means, but
I don't even give a shit. I don't even give a shit about the PlayStation. Like, sure, put it on PlayStation. That's just an Xbox problem at that point. That's not really a Halo problem. Tell me what you think down there in the comments, because I don't know about it, man. I think it's gonna be poo-poo. I think it's gonna be stinky. I think it's gonna be garbage. And if Halo 1 didn't exist, might have been a pretty good game. But Halo 1, unfortunately for them, exists. So, good luck.
Donate to the PayPal.